Okay, it's K Rob C, who asks, when you pass a ground floor flat, do you sneak a look through the window?
Yeah, absolutely. I always look in to see what they're watching on television. One time, so I was out with Dane Baptiste, and his Live at the Apollo had gone out that night, and I was walking home and I saw they were watching his Live at the Apollo, and I wanted to go knock on their window, and I was with him. How shallow is that?
No, that's amazing. You wanted to do that?
Yeah, I wanted to.
That's not shallow. That's
cool. I
cool.
wanted to knock on their window and be like, I was with Dane earlier.
Oh no, I thought you were with him.
Mm-mm.
Oh
no!
I thought you were with him, and they were watching him, and then suddenly this random couple hear a knock, and it's you going, "Eh?"
I would have done that if I was with Dane. That would be fucking amazing.
If you hadn't have done that, I'd have not spoken to you ever again. That'd have been the funniest thing ever. Yeah.
But no, I'd just been with him several hours.
Damn, that's annoying.
Yeah.
That's very funny though.
And from the same house, they live on my road. I was looking to see what they're doing. One time I saw the guy was on Warzone on Call of Duty.
Okay.
And I wanted to go in and be like, I'll play that.
I'll do that.
We both watched Dane. We both play Warzone.
Is this the same guy?
Yeah, it's the same person.
You should be friends with this guy. It sounds like you've got a lot in common.
I know, he lives like 12 doors down from me. I do want to.
I hope he watches this.
Imagine I walked by and he had this on.
That would be amazing.
And I could just be like,
and you'd be like, look at me.
As I got a knock on the window, I just hear him going, this is shit. What? Slowly just walk away.
Have you, I think everyone looks right. So I'm going to throw the do you walk past a ground floor flat and a window and do you look through it in the same category as do you drive past an accident on the motorway and do you look like it is within human nature that if you are walking past something and you get a glimpse into something that there's no responsibility and you can just see what's happening there, that is just you do it. Yeah, that's human nature.
I've ever told you about the story of Ricketts' house.
No, please do.
So Ricketts used to have a thing.
Ricketts is our friend.
He had a thing where there was a woman who would get changed every night in front of his window at this time exactly.
And she knew.
And she knew what she was doing. And he had a thing where whenever someone come round and get that time, he'd be like, come on, let's fuck it. And then
I'll pour you a brandy and we'll go there and
seats. And it wasn't like, it was just like, oh, look, this is the thing that happens in film. This is the thing everyone talks about. Yeah. I'm going to look at the naked woman through the window.
Well, what it is, it's Friends, big fat naked guy, and the guy who they always look at him.
Yeah.
And it's like, so if you watch Friends, that's a guy who's like clearly quite a sort of troubled bloke who's just sort of...
I think he's liberated.
Do you reckon he's liberated?
I reckon he's liberated.
I
think there's something beautiful about someone who's so confident in their...
You're right. They
walk in front of a window, everyone's going to look at me, I'm going to do it.
And he just knows that the friend's looking at him and he's like, yeah, fine. I retract my statement. I'd rather have that.
I'm just saying that one so I can get away with staring at this naked bird who probably didn't know. But... If you get changed naked in front of a window...
Have you ever got changed knowing that people can see?
Yeah, a few times, but it's always been on like a lad's holiday where it's kind of like there's something funny about being naked in front of guys.
No,
but in like
staying in hotels,
no one's sexualising you. Do you know what I mean? Like if I walk out naked as a guy on like a holiday, it's like woo.
Right.
Whereas if you walk out as a woman, it's like woo.
But I've an ex-girlfriend of mine. So this is like, oh god, this is like 10 years ago, maybe more, like 13 years ago. I mean, we were staying in a flat. And we were on the balcony and we got down to it and we knew people were watching, but we were like, we'll just carry on. And it was then like
before camera phones.
No, but it was before social media and stuff. So camera phones came before social media.
They were like 3.2 megapixel. If someone was to record it, it would just be like the sound of.
Yeah. But it was and I remember like, it was just like, oh, people can see, and it was like, let them watch. It was like that sort of really cliche thing. But I remember at the time being like, oh, this is quite. For that situation, because it was under a duvet, so it wasn't like we weren't like.
I wasn't hardcore.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that.
Okay.
It was sort of making love under a duvet rather than.
Were you making love or were you fucking?
Oh no, we were kidding ourselves that we were having a relationship. It ended very soon after. And looking back,
I can't believe you fucked me about it.
Looking back, it was.
Yeah.
She was a girl who I remember. Then I met her again a couple of years later at a party, and we chatted, having broken up for 2 years, and we chatted in a way we'd never chatted before. And I realised you were always cooler than I ever thought you actually were, and a lot of it was just us being young and not really.
Oh, there's nothing.
And sometimes that happens, but and you grow up and you go, oh no, actually this person had way more depth. I just never gave them the chance.
Yeah, you were just being like. Get laid sort of about it and like, oh, look who I'm sitting at.
Yeah, I think she was one of my first ones out of first girlfriends girls that I was seeing at least out of uni as well. So I was like not wanting to settle down.
When I first I lost my virginity outside to a girl while my mates were around the corner.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they knew what was going on.
That doesn't sound like a happy tale.
It wasn't a happy tale.
That sounds very sad.
She's now sober. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
I was 16, she was like 17. It was up in Bromley. After taking my virginity, she went to get with a dealer to get MDMA, and I was 16. It was the first guy I'd ever got with, and I'd met her a couple of weeks before at a party and we'd really got on. I bumped into her that night while me and my mates were out. We were just out to smoke weed. And one of my mates went, oh, you fucking talked about fucking Elliot last week. And she was like, and it was a joke. We were like 16-year-olds doing a joke. She was like 18. And she went, well, let's go do it now. And I like took me off and I thought it was a joke. We walked around the corner as a joke. And then she went to me like, nah, we're going to do it. And I was like, what? And then we ended up doing it outside, and then for then on afterwards, any sexual experience I had that wasn't outside, like, wouldn't do anything for me. So if you enjoyed the Patreon episode, please make sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
But did you get? Yeah. Because
we never got. To be fair to my mates, and this is a credit to those boys. They never came round the corner. They never came to sneak a peek. They just let it happen.
No. But you could argue like, but why would you not go? Hang on, that older woman is taking a younger bloke and abusing her position there.
Dude,
and
I was 16. I was happy to be losing my V place.
Yeah,
like I was fucking thrilled.
I mean, I think your friends knew. I think your friends knew you. And it was fun. Yeah.
But I was so embarrassed by it because when the story came out and went round my school, she didn't go to my school. She didn't go to my sixth form.
Yeah, no. She didn't go to your university or. She had a job.
So when the story went around my school, I was so embarrassed because I was worried I was going to be known as a dude who did that kind of thing. That like I remember my mate Matt had to sit me down because all the other girls at my school knew I was a virgin, and they all like had a thing in the cap where they went, Elliot lost his virginity, and were doing it to embarrass me. They knew I was getting embarrassed, and my mate Matt like saw me go red, and my mate Matt looked at me and he went, Elliot mate, just look at me, high five, chill out. And it was like one of those moments where I learned like own something rather than be embarrassed by something.
Right.
So like instead of going, oh my god, everyone at school knows I've lost my virginity in this way that's kind of weird, like because he was like, no, own this situation.
That's a good friend. Okay, that's nice.
I don't know if she did the same, but
she didn't think it.
She didn't give a fuck.
She didn't care.
No. I've seen her since she's like a fucking sound person. Like she's doing really well for herself.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. And interesting because you'd think that actually your mates. the temptation to go and have a look would have been high, and that goes back to the question of, do you look through the window of the thing?
Well,
and it is that sort of the forbidden. Do you press that button? Do you do that?
But that's the thing that was fascinating, is none of them came. Look, and I ended up coming at really good powers with them all for a while. One of them was like, I was like really liked her at the time. I was chatting to one of them, and my mate Callum, and he was like, I really liked her, and like we had this like moment on a New Year's Eve. I was like, look, man, if I know, like we were like, we became quite good friends over it and bonded over it. But it was a thing where there was just something where they were like, no. Let this, because I wouldn't have ever been able to live that down at that age.
Yeah, that's a very moment.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a very formative moment. And the fact that your friends did that probably has given you a very big grounding on own the situation. That's probably what
we literally bumped into her, and my mate said it as a joke. She was kind of clocking onto me at this party, but I was just at 16. I had zero game. Like I had zero. Like I just lost my weight. I had blonde highlights in my hair. So I knew I was getting. So
you how you are now.
How I am now. But
you put it back on. You found the highlights.
But without the tenacity part. But I'd not had the. I didn't know like how to use any of it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know that like, all right, you're getting female attention. So like you can get female attention, but then there's what to do with female attention. I was just like. Do you watch Naruto? Like I didn't have anything. Yeah. And then I lost my virginity that way. And I remember she didn't go to school or anything. She was outside of school. Just as soon as it happened, my mate like in a group chat.
What an interesting woman.
She's doing really well for herself. God bless her. She's I've fucking always got a place in my heart.
And not on your bedpost.
How did you lose your virginity?
So I lost mine at 14.
Okay, that's way too young.
Is it, like, I feel like age is not too.
You're trying. Actually, to be fair, you're trying to get laid at that age.
I lost it to a girl I'd been going out with for a year.
Okay, yeah.
And we were ready. We talked about it. We'd had 3 times where we could have done, and we'd both said no. And then it was a time we went okay. It wasn't like candles and all that lot. It was it was still in my mate's room and stuff. But it was the right time to do it, and it was safe, and it was considered.
Did you wear a condom?
Yeah.
I see. I didn't.
Right. Yeah. So
I didn't even come when I lost my virginity. I had to finish myself off behind this place. Right. So
I may have been a couple of years younger than you.
So to hijack your story.
No.
Into the depressing.
You really have jacked my story. Literally. I may have been a few years younger than you, but I feel like mine was probably a much more safer, maturer, nicer way of doing it. And I think that is a good point to make, though. It's like I don't know if it's always about the age you're at. It's where you are. You and the person you're doing it with have found yourselves and what the circumstances are. So if I had a child, would I rather them... If I had a daughter, would I rather her at 14 have sex with someone she's been out with for a year and do it safely and correctly, or be 16 and be banged up behind some skips
behind
somewhere?
Bridgestone close?
Yeah, I think I might take the fall. I don't know, I've never thought of that question, but to me, I think...
Yeah, I think
especially when you talk a lot about this, the younger generations and how they're sort of so exposed to everything anyway by that age.
Oh, dude.
So safety and it being meaningful is a lot more important.
There is no such thing now.
Age.
I will say this now. There is no such thing between the ages of like when I first started banging. There is no such thing as lovemaking. Like there is no, like I've had to, my girlfriend once like had to go to me, you fuck like a one night stand. And that's because I've been having so many one night stands. It's not necessarily a porn thing, because I don't really watch porn.
No.
I like
that's a youth thing as well, right?
It's a youth thing. But I used to, my like way I got laid was I'd go out on a night out, I'd pull, and it would just be with someone who's like, fuck me from behind, I'm say all these things. Whereas like that's not what actually sex should be. Like sex should be, it can be that, but like it's like the generation that are into like, hey, could you choke me? And it's like, and then there's people who are actually into choking, and it's like, calm down there, you're not into this. You think you've got to be into this thing, but this isn't what this is. It's like going out drinking and someone went, I just drink absinthe, and you're like, no, you don't just drink, you don't just get that to get to that state. There's a lot of fun within the having a drink with someone. Is the way is the way I sort of like. But there's a generation who are raised just watching people just bang back absinthe and go, woo, this is what drinking is. The same way with like, I think it's as well because younger people are so much more exposed to drugs now. Like
the young people, rather than society, because obviously, society over the years of like the 70s and the 60s is everywhere. But young people,
they're not even exposed to like, I think like young people back in the day were exposed to like mind-altering fun drugs like LSD,
whereas now it's more
coke and MDMA,
ketamine and all that sort of stuff.
And MDMA and cocaine, and those are both stimulants that are just going to make you just for hours like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all right, there might be a bit of cuddling with the
MDMA. I don't know if okay. I still see that.
What was the question? Watching people through doors.
Watching people through doors.
So I do watch people through their windows on the off chance, just like I'm going to see someone fucking, not to get off of it, just to have a moment of like, yes, my guy, and my girl. It's good for you.
Namaste.
Namaste.